My mother, Mary Johnson, couldn't endure James Johnson's abuse anymore and decided to leave with me, Lily Johnson, and my brother, Tom Johnson. As we were about to depart in the car, Tom suddenly started throwing a tantrum, accusing Mary of kidnapping us. We never made it out. When we returned home, Tom was rewarded with a bowl of braised pork. Enraged, Jim beat Mary to death and buried her in the backyard, spreading rumors in the village that she'd run off with another man. Years later, when I got accepted into the best high school in the county, Jim forced me to work at a garment factory instead. At 18, he sold me to a man 20 years older, using the bride price to buy Tom an apartment in the city. I died during childbirth, only to see Tom's cold sneer. Useless woman couldn't even deliver a baby properly. When I reopened my eyes, I found myself back at that fateful day. Jim was whipping Mary with his belt, his face crimson with rage. All you do is ask for money. What good are you? He spat. Why waste money on school supplies for a girl? She'll just marry off anyway. Seeing this familiar scene, I realized I'd been reborn. Last life's timid self would have cowered, remembering how he'd slapped me for intervening before. But this time, I threw myself between them. Stop hitting Mom! I screamed. Jim kicked me square in the stomach, the pain splitting through me like lightning. Drunk and furious, he raised his foot again. Defying your own father, you little brat? Grandma Johnson arrived just then with laundry for Mary to wash. Enough, she snapped. You'll break the girl and we'll have medical bills. Jim spat on the ground before storming out. Should have known better than provoke him. Grandma chided Mary, patting my head with false sweetness. Be good, Lily. Don't contradict your father. After she left, Mary gently rubbed my bruised stomach. Go get your brother, she whispered with new determination. I knew what came next, the hidden milk candies to coax Tom onto the donkey cart, the bus ticket to the city. But just as the engine would start, Tom would scream about strangers kidnapping him. I remembered the police station interrogation, the villagers' suspicious stares, how Tom had later bragged to Jim. I knew she'd try running like Karen Miller. Played the kidnapping card perfect, didn't I? His reward had been that glistening bowl of pork while Mary's screams echoed from the bedroom. This time, watching Tom stuff his face with candy, I clenched my fists. The bus engine rumbled to life. After that, Mary stayed locked in her room. My Johnson family grandparents stormed in cursing to drag her out, only to find her lifeless body. Jim had beaten Mary to death, with red-rimmed eyes. I asked Tom if he regretted it. He scraped the last sauce from his braised pork bowl with a steamed bun, shrugging. Serves her right. She deserved it for trying to run away and abandon her husband. Remembering everything from my past life, I looked up. Mom, are you planning to take Tom and me away from the village? Mary froze, rubbing her reddened eyes before smoothing my hair. I want us to try our luck in the city. Your father, he's dangerous. Staying here means no future for you kids. I've saved some money. We'll take the bus to the provincial capital. Karen used to tell me city folks earn good money through hard work. My face paled remembering her fate. Don't take Tom, she sighed, mistaking my objection over torn homework. Your brother's rowdy, but he's family. Be the bigger person. Lily, I'll buy you new notebooks when we make it. She didn't understand some rot spreads until everything stinks. As Mary packed, she urged, your grandparents are visiting Aunt Sue. Jim's drinking at the neighboring village wedding. Go fetch Tom now. Instead of obeying like last time, I stood motionless. Don't worry. She knelt smiling. We'll visit them whenever you miss. I don't. The words tore from my throat. Miss them? I wished them dead. Memories of Mary's mangled corpse flashed behind my eyelids. Clutching her sleeve, I lifted my shirt exposing purple bruises. Tom gets praised as tough guy while I nearly die from beatings. Leave him. Mary frowned. His bad behavior comes from poor upbringing. Leaving him would make it worse. Go get your brother. I shook my head violently. Is this about your ruined homework? she snapped. I'll discipline him properly. As she turned to leave, I grabbed her arm. Wait until tonight. I'll show you something. When she hesitated, I collapsed, clutching my stomach. The village doctor prescribed herbal patches after her frantic examination. That evening, Jim stumbled home reeking of alcohol. He kicked over the foot basin Mary brought, passing out snoring. Under cover of darkness, I led Mary to the Johnson family grandparents' house. Through their window, we saw Tom devouring braised pork from Aunt Sue's visit, cheeks glistening with grease. Safely ensconced in his kingdom of spoils, Grandma Johnson waved her palm leaf fan, chuckling. Take your time, sweetie. It's all yours. Grandpa Johnson puffed on his water pipe, grumbling. What's wrong with giving Tom proper meals openly? He's our family's only heir. Mary dotes on Lily. He continued. You know no decent woman would tolerate our son except that doormat Mary. Mistreat Lily before her, and she might pull a Karen Miller disappearing act. My brother TJ wiped grease from his mouth, declaring with childish innocence. We should break their legs. Then they won't dare run away. The elderly couple roared with laughter. That's our grandson. Such spirit. Mary stood frozen beneath the window, her calloused hand crushing mine. In my past life, her death had revealed their charade, doting grandparents morphing into cruel taskmasters who'd only pretended kindness to control her. Tugging Mary's sleeve, I whispered, Tom will thrive here. But Jim kicked my stomach this morning. It still hurts. Memories flooded back of becoming his punching bag after her death. Squeezing her hand, I willed this timeline's Mary to flee forever. When TJ waddled back with a stuffed belly, Mary approached. Where were you, sweetheart? None of your business. The 8-year-old shoved past her, flopping onto the heated bed with comic books. Lily could do laundry at your age. Mary frowned. TJ kicked his feet. That's her job. She's a girl. I nearly choked when Mary later insisted. We're taking TJ too. He's not evil, just corrupted by them. City teachers will fix him. Remember when he burned my clothes? I countered. What if he screams kidnapper during escape? Police would come. He'd never. Mary gasped, slapping my cheek. The sting froze my thoughts. How could you abandon your brother? Boys need more guidance. Rubbing my face, I hissed. Then leave me. Take your precious heir. Her eyes widened at the ultimatum. For 18 years she'd never raised a hand. Yet now, the betrayal tasted metallic. Stay then, I choked out. But I'm done being his punching bag. Her trembling palm hovered between us, the ghost of that slap haunting both our eyes. Somewhere, the fan kept swinging, its breeze too weak to cool this smoldering family curse. She stepped forward and hugged me. Lily. Mary didn't mean to. She just wanted to keep both you and Tom close. You're both pieces of her heart. I felt her warm breath against my ear, remembering those cold hands from my past life, and hugged her tighter. Mom, this is for your own good. Only a sigh answered me. That evening, Jim came home drunk after losing at cards, taking his anger out on Mary again. I dug out the liniment from the cabinet, but when I tried to tend to Mary's bruises, she pushed me away. My constant interference had prevented her escape attempts, though I knew she resented me for it. As long as she couldn't abandon Tom, I couldn't let her leave. Staying meant bruises, but survival. I didn't need her understanding, just her long life. When the village chief brought a contractor recruiting workers with housing and good pay, many jumped at the opportunity. The Johnson grandparents pressured Jim to go, but he refused until Grandma mentioned future wedding expenses for Tom. Jim finally left for the city. Without him around, Mary still worked herself ragged, but the beatings stopped. During his first visit home, Jim brought gifts: premium whiskey for Grandpa, new dress for Grandma, cold cream for Mary, toys and snacks for Tom, and a pink hair bow for me. Life seemed to be improving, and Mary stopped talking about leaving. What could have changed our fates became like pebbles sinking without ripples. On lunar New Year's Eve, I sat behind the hearth eating Mary's secretly saved braised pork, thinking this quiet routine was enough. At Grandma's 60th birthday, all 3 Johnson aunts returned, including Emily Smith from the city. Sue had married the butcher per family arrangement. The second aunt a carpenter. Only Em had rebelled, eloping with a peddler instead of wedding the chief's son. The family disowned her until her husband's success brought reconciliation, though relations remained strained. Years later, Em would cut ties after Jim tried to make Tom their godson and transfer his household registration. When Tom developed inappropriate feelings toward Anna, all contact ceased. Now Em arrived in her sedan car with lavish gifts, even bringing me a beautiful dress. Mary complained about wasting money on growing girls, yet praised Tom's new sneakers. Em just smiled. While others chatted in the parlor, Mary and I worked in the kitchen until Em came to help. Her daughter Anna, a 9th grader with stellar grades, waved at me in her pretty dress before disappearing with a book. I crouched under the kitchen window shelling edamame and prepping vegetables. Aunt Em from the Smith family had a knack for conversation, and within minutes she and Mary were chatting like old friends. Suddenly Mary asked, "Don't you and James want to try for a son?" My hands froze mid-shell. Aunt Em chuckled. "One's enough. Why have more?" But without a son, wouldn't James' family line end? 3 generations back. Who even remembers their ancestors? Aunt Em's smile widened. "Boys or girls, they're all the same." Mary scoffed. "Don't believe that nonsense. Half the neighborhood's still trying for sons after 3 daughters." Changing the subject, Aunt Em remarked, "Lily's top of her class, isn't she? College material for sure." I bit back a smile. "College?" Mary's laughter rang harsh. "You think she'll make it?" Aunt Em raised an eyebrow. "You doubt her?" "I'm not even letting her finish high school." My chest tightened. "Why on earth not? Middle school's plenty for a girl. Why waste money?" "Now that's where I disagree." Aunt Em's voice sharpened. "If she's got the brains, you sell the roof to keep her in school." Mary snorted. "Educating girls is like tossing coins in a wishing well. Your family's got money to burn, we don't. I count every penny twice." Truth be told, I'd have pulled her out after elementary if they hadn't made middle school free. Soon as she's old enough, she'll work to support Tom's education. The edamame pulp oozed green through my fingers. I'd always thought Mary supported my studies as long as I did my chores. Now I realized she'd never asked about my future. Never checked my report cards. Though she scrutinized Tom's pop quizzes. "We can only afford Tom's schooling." Mary continued chopping pork violently. "Lily'll marry out eventually. Middle school's enough to land a decent husband who'll help her brother." Aunt Em paused before teasing. "Tom doesn't strike me as the scholarly type." The cleaver thunked into the cutting board. "He just needs to apply himself. My son's as good as any." After heavy silence, Aunt Em sighed. "You're turning into my mother. You know." Green stains dripped onto my handmade shoes as Tom materialized grinning. Right on cue. He blew a handful of dirt in my face. Grit burned my eyes as tears spilled. Usually I let his pranks slide. Not today. Grabbing a sweet potato, I lobbed it weakly at him. "Ow!" Tom howled theatrically. Jim came running. "Lily hit me." Tom bawled. Before I could speak, Jim yanked my hair. "How dare you hurt your brother?" My eyes still stung as I yanked at my tangled hair, rubbing my irritated eyelids. "I didn't." "Yes. You did," TJ shrilled, hopping on one foot. "She threw a rock at me." "That's not true." I snapped. "It was a sweet potato." Mary sighed heavily, her disappointment palpable. "So you did hit your brother?" "Lily, you're older now. How could you still bully TJ? You should know better." "Aunt Mary." Anna emerged from the bedroom, dog-eared paperback in hand. I saw what happened. TJ blew sand in Lily's eyes first. "That doesn't excuse hitting him." Anna's brow furrowed. "It's just a sweet potato. How much could it hurt?" "Easy for you to say." Mary snapped. "You weren't the one getting hit." Anna froze mid-eye roll. Seriously? You're being completely unfair. Lily's only 2 years older than that tank you call a son. The barb found its mark. Mary's cheeks flushed. How dare you? I treat both my children equally. Everything they have, I provide in duplicate. As Anna opened her mouth to retort, Em rested a warning hand on her daughter's shoulder. With a derisive snort, Anna stormed back to her room, slamming the paperback on her nightstand. Mary dampened a washcloth, scrubbing roughly at my tear-streaked face. Don't listen to them. Sweetheart. Mama loves you both the same. But Tom's younger. You need to protect him. Like I protect you both. Her voice softened. When you marry someday, your brother will defend your honor. Bitter laughter bubbled in my throat. What if I move far away? The cloth ground harder against my cheekbone. Nonsense. I'll find you a good local husband. The familiar suffocation tightened my chest. Finish shelling the peas. She turned to kneel before Tom, tenderly brushing dirt from his overalls. The contrast stung more than the sand had. I never doubted Mary's love. But her affection came with invisible price tags: obedience, gratitude, future repayment. Tom received love freely, like sunshine. Sue's words echoed in my mind, how Mary was becoming more like Grandma Johnson every day. The irony burned. My mother had once despised Grandma's favoritism. Now she mirrored it unconsciously. The revelation crystallized. Providence hadn't granted this second chance to save her, but to save myself. I dropped to my knees. Mary startled as my forehead thumped against linoleum. This single life debt repaid. I rose unburdened. My newfound detachment didn't escape Mary. But Tom's constant mischief consumed her. Between broken windows and playground brawls, she basked in exasperated pride. That boy. She'd complained to Karen over fence chats. Needs a good whipping, Karen would suggest. Mary always recoiled. Can't crush a boy's spirit. His wildness shows leadership. Her eyes sparkled with perverse delight. The cycle continued. Tom's antics, Mary's scolding, laced praise, my silent observation. In the storm of his chaos, my quiet liberation went unnoticed. Perfect. My younger brother Tom's grades were terrible. So after finishing my chores each day, I had to tutor him. Ever since overhearing Mary's conversation with Emily last time, I'd been deliberately failing every exam. Seeing me at the bottom of the class rankings, Mary became terrified I'd corrupt Tom's studies and forbade me from tutoring him anymore. Perfect, this freed up time for me to read secretly. Before the high school entrance exam results were even posted, Mary started packing my bags for factory work. I'm not going. She looked up sharply from folding clothes. What did you say? I'm not going. I repeated softly. Her face darkened. Say that again. Years of pent-up frustration erupted as I shouted. I said I'm not going. I want to keep studying. The slap came instantly, her second time hitting me. We can't afford your education. Your father's savings are all for Tom. Don't even think about touching that money. I'll pay my own way. This is my only chance to change my fate. Mary sneered. Stop comparing yourself to Anna. She's a city girl, you're nothing like her. Then what should I be? Like every other village girl, work at the factory. Earn money. Marry well. In a few years, Tom sauntered in chewing gum, snickering. Mom's right. You're too dumb for high school anyway, just lazy. Mary relaxed. Fine. If you fail to get into the top school, you're going to the factory. When the results came, I'd topped the entire school. My teacher was stunned but thrilled. Tom turned purple. You cheated. Prove it. That night, I pried loose the brick behind my bed. Emily's note and red envelope tumbled out, the city address Anna had slipped me before leaving. I caught the pre-dawn bus to town. 3 hours later, I stood at Emily's door. I'll sign any loan terms, bank interest rates. Higher. Whatever you want. Her husband started objecting. But Emily cut in. Draw up the papers. Really? He protested. Business stays separate from family, she said firmly. I nodded. Debts require contracts, that's only right. Emily smiled. Lily. I've been waiting years for this knock. I thought you'd listen to your mother. Mary said. Her voice tight. But turns out you've got more of Jim in you than I realized. When Em offered to fund my high school education, Mary was furious. Jim just shrugged. Relieved someone else was footing the bill, he even chuckled about Em being a sucker. My factory shifts had been contributing to household income. And my absence meant financial strain. Jim's eyes lit up with sudden inspiration. Since you're paying for Lily's school, you'll cover Tom's too. Right? Em knew Tom wasn't cut out for academics. Of course. She replied smoothly. I'll fund his education if he gets into the top high school. Her conditional promise became the bargaining chip that secured my enrollment. 3 years later during college entrance exams, Tom failed his middle school finals spectacularly, not even qualifying for vocational school. He refused apprenticeships or factory work. Jim drained their savings to buy him another year of cram school. I rarely visited home during those years, though Mary occasionally sent care packages through Em. Eating the hard-boiled eggs she'd prepared. I remembered childhood days when Jim backhanded me for nibbling Tom's discarded egg yolk. Mary had held me weeping in the kitchen that day, later sneaking me a bowl of egg drop soup. I missed her terribly, yet dreaded returning home. Every visit meant enduring her icy stares and bitter words. Why bother coming back? 3 years wasted on books instead of earning. She'd rail against Em for corrupting me, transforming my nostalgia into resentment thick as swamp mud, suffocating, inescapable. Mary had calcified her worldview beyond persuasion. Your mother's complicated, Em once observed. I wholeheartedly agreed. When college acceptance letters arrived, I chose a university 3 states away. Your heart's always been restless, was Mary's only comment. I spent summer washing dishes downtown, counting days until move-in. Then Tom showed up at my diner. Breathless. Mom's really sick. I rushed home to find strangers in our yard, a middle-aged woman and sullen young man. There she is. The woman trilled. Pretty thing. Just like you said. The man's hungry stare crawled over me like ants. I glared at Mary. Thought you were dying? Her nervous laugh rang hollow. The visitors made quick excuses to leave. As Tom escorted them out, I rounded on Mary. What's this about? She studied her chapped hands. Found you a good match. Decent boy runs a noodle shop downtown. His family's well off. Only child. He's taken with you since you ate there last month. The words hit like lightning. You're selling me? Don't be dramatic. He's reliable. At 23. You should. I was already packing when her voice cracked. Lily, wait. The suitcase zippers scream drowned her out. Some silences speak louder than slamming doors. You'll live a comfortable life once you marry into that family. Mary insisted. Aren't you envious of your Aunt Em? They told me if you agree to this marriage, we could afford a house in the city once they save enough. Her words made her feel like a stranger. I'd shared my dreams and ambitions with her before, but she'd only smiled silently. Turns out she'd considered my aspirations worthless, just some city-obsessed girl's vanity project in her eyes. Something inside me shattered. Tears welled up as I steadied my trembling voice. I'm an adult now. You can't stop me from going to college. Her face darkened. Don't think I'm fooled. If you go study out of state, you'll never come back. After all I've sacrificed? The mask finally slipped. A bitter laugh escaped me. I'll send money monthly after graduation. By then you'll be 22. She slammed her palm on the table. Who'd want used goods? High school education's more than enough for any woman. Dozens of families are lining up for this match. What about love? I challenged. Love? She sneered. Ask anyone in 3 counties, when did love ever factor into marriage? Your Aunt Sue hated marrying her older husband. But look how well they're doing now. I endured this life. Your grandmothers endured it, why can't you? Her voice turned saccharine. Sweetheart. I'm protecting you. College girls still end up married. Except older and unwanted. Even cripples might reject you then. Haven't I always cherished you? Taken your father's beatings for you? Her loving face from childhood memories superimposed over this twisted version. That year you tried to run away. I whispered. If you could only take one child. Her silence answered louder than words. You'd choose TJ. I stated. All this is just paving the way for your precious son. The slap left my cheek burning. Third time. I'm your mother. You'll obey me. You'll thank me later. As she locked me in my room. TJ's excited shouts drifted through the window. They paid $100,000 bride price. The September sunlight filtering through bars looked more like prison floodlights. He wanted to buy a computer. Aunt Em had returned from out of town, bringing her husband to argue fiercely with my parents Mary and Jim. Suddenly she shouted. Are you trying to drive this child to her death? Death? Oh right. I pushed through the crowd of onlookers and leaped into the river amidst gasps. The world finally went quiet. They fished me out. The villagers said I'd gone mad. Seeing my drastic action, the other family demanded their dowry back. When the money disappeared, my brother Tom grabbed a knife to attack me, though others restrained him. Aunt Em quickly took me away. My mother Mary chased after us, voice trembling as she cried, Lily. I paused mid-stride, turning to face her. She jogged closer, stopping a yard away. The handprint on her cheek glowed angry red. Staring at her swollen face, I flexed my fingers. I wanted to ask, does it hurt? Instead she hissed. If you dare go to college, never come back. I chuckled bitterly. Aunt Em was right, my mother had always been contradictory. Meeting the eyes of the woman who gave me life, I said flatly, fine. Consider me dead since that river jump. Aunt Em and her husband saw me off at the train station. Before entering, I instinctively glanced back. Amidst the jostling crowd, I instantly spotted that familiar hunched figure. I'd tried pulling you from the mire. You refused. I'll never deny you loved me. But life's road stretches long. The only constant companion I'll have is myself. I won't be coming back. Goodbye. For good.